it's pretty obvious that the cornerstone to getting our debt and deficits under control is slowing the rate of growth in our major entitlement programs. Federal spending on Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid is expected to grow from less than 30% of all spending to more than 40% three decades from now. Plus, the major programs are running out of money. Social Security Trust Fund is expected to go expect to be insolvent in the next decade, and Medicare is actually a problem that we face inside the budget window today. So I guess my question to you is, what should Congress be doing about this problem? What do they need to work on?
Yeah, so I would say the first place I would start is probably with something like the Trust Act that Senators Romney and Manchin introduced. I think in an ideal world we would be, talking more about a specific package, and there would be, we would be talking about what we're going to do on the tax side and what we're going to do on the benefit side, and how we're going to control the rate of growth of healthcare costs. And I'll talk a little bit about what I think we should do when we get to that stage. But it is so far from where the conversation is right now. I mean, we just had an election where we had one side that was arguing that we should just put Social Security and Medicare on a timer, and if we don't do something within the next 5 years or the next year, just let it expire. And then we have the other side that says we shouldn't do anything at all, or we should increase benefits across the board. And so I think right now the discourse is so far from what solutions look like. It's just, if we could even just start having the conversation again in a rational way, that would be the first step. As far as what we do substantively once we are having that conversation, I think part of it is going to depend on how soon we get there. I think I've had the distinction of working on two different comprehensive Social Security reform blueprints. One was when I was at the Bipartisan Policy Center working with Bill, hi Bill, and the other was when I moved over to PPI. And so, and one thing that you see when you do an entitlement reform plan 1 year and then another one a few years later is that it actually gets a lot harder. Mm-hmm. And I think it has been longer since I did the second plan than the time between the first and the second plan. And we are now, 5 years away from Medicare Part A, just over a decade away from Social Security. And so I think that the solutions are just going to get harder the longer we wait. But I think we need to be looking at, things like raising more revenue, whether that's through traditional means like the payroll tax or something more out of the box like a national consumption tax. I think that we need to be looking at making benefit adjustments that will both protect the most vulnerable the most vulnerable retirees, and while still doing it in a way that doesn't put an overly difficult burden on working Americans, because it wouldn't be right to delay solving this problem for 30, 40 years and then just ask the next generation to pick up the entirety of the tab for it. And I realize that I say that somewhat selfishly, as I think the only person on this stage, or I don't know, maybe even in Concord's history, who was born the same year as the Concord Coalition. So I know that...
At least you own up to the 30.
Yes, yes.